Hey guys, my name is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Today I am with Chris Jericho. Hey.
What's up?
Why did you leave WWE?
Because the WWE was holding back my creative freedom. I wanted to be able to do things my own way, and I felt that I was never given the respect that I deserved. They'd rather just stick with people who have no personality and are bland.
Are you more happy in AEW?
I'm much happier in AEW than I ever was in WWE. The atmosphere here is so much better. The crowd is incredible, and I have so much more freedom to be creative in the ring.
What is the greatest match in WWE that you faced?
That's a tough one because I've had so many great matches in WWE. But if I had to pick one, I'd say my match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26 is one of my all-time favorites. It was a dream match for me, and the crowd was electric. HBK and I had great chemistry in the ring, and I felt like we had a real classic that night.
Intercontinental Championship match, Chris Benoit vs. Euro. Rematch from Backlash 2000 WWE.
Oh, wow. That was a great match. It was a hard hitting and technical match, and the crowd was really into it. The rematch at Backlash 2000 was even better than the first match, in my opinion. It was a real battle, and I could feel the tension in the air. I think both me and Benoit were really motivated to put on a great show for the fans, and we delivered. It was a great match, and I'm proud of the work we did that night.
WWE title match, WrestleMania X8.
Wow, that was a huge match for me. It was my first ever WWE title match at WrestleMania, and I was really nervous. Triple H was a great opponent. He was a great wrestler, and he was very experienced, but I was determined to prove myself, and I was ready to go. The match itself was a good one, and I felt like I held my own against Triple H. In the end, Triple H won the match, but I was proud of my performance anyways.
CM Punk versus UWE title match, WrestleMania XXVI.
That was a great match too. Like, CM Punk was a fantastic wrestler, and he was coming into that match as one of the most popular wrestlers in the industry at the time. I was really excited to face him, and I was ready to give him a real challenge. And the crowd was going crazy, and we both put everything we had into the match. It was a hard-fought battle, and in the end, I was able to emerge victorious, defending my WWE Championship.
Do you miss the old Chris Jericho, or do you like the new Chris Jericho better?
I miss the old Jericho in some ways. He was more carefree and had a lot more fun in the ring. But at the same time, I've grown as a wrestler and as a person since then. I'm more experienced and more technically proficient in the ring, and I think my character work has improved as well. So in that sense, I think I prefer the newer version of myself, but I still have a lot of love for the old me, and I miss those carefree days sometimes.
Goldberg versus Bad Blood 2003.
That was a brutal match. Goldberg was a powerhouse in the ring, and he was coming in hot after his undefeated streak in WCW. I was facing an uphill battle from the get-go. The match was hard-hitting and violent, and both of us were determined to come out on top. In the end, I was unable to defeat Goldberg, and he walked away with the victory.
Benoit versus WrestleMania 29.
That was a fun match, for sure. Fandango was a hot newcomer to the WWE at the time, and he had a lot of momentum. I was excited to face him on such a big stage at WrestleMania. The match itself was a bit wonky at times, with Fandango's dancing and my antics, but overall, I think we were able to put on a solid performance for the fans. In the end, I was able to come out on top, and the match was a memorable one.
Randy Orton RKO's UR D3G 2007.
That one hurt! Orton caught me completely off guard with that RKO. I was focused on a different wrestler at the time, and I totally wasn't expecting Orton to come out of nowhere and hit me with it. The RKO is a brutal move, and it always takes me a while to recover from it. I remember being laid out on the mat for what felt like forever while Orton celebrated his victory. It was a tough loss, but I have to admit it was a great move by Orton.
Randy Orton and JBL versus Jeff Hardy and U Raw Jan 28th, 2008.
That was a tough one. We were facing two of the toughest wrestlers in the WWE at the time, and they were determined to take us down. It was a tag team match, so we had a bit more support, but it was still a difficult match. In the end, Orton and JBL were able to get the win, but I remember putting up a good fight. It was a hard-hitting and exciting match overall, and it was definitely a memorable one for me.
You versus Batista World Heavyweight Title Match, Cyber Sunday 2008.
That was a brutal match. Batista was a beast in the ring, and he was determined to take my title away from me. The match was a hard-hitting and fast-paced battle, and both of us gave everything we had. It was a close match, but in the end, I was able to sneak in a victory. Winning that title was a huge moment for me, and it's a match I won't soon forget.
Do you miss teaming up with the Big Show, Jerry Show?
Absolutely. I loved being a part of Jerry Show. Big Show and I had great chemistry in the ring. and we always had fun together. We were a dominant team and we were able to rack up wins together. I think we were one of the best tag teams in the business at the time, and I definitely miss teaming up with him. We had some great matches together, and I have lots of fond memories of our time as a team.
Why you guys broke up as tag team?
I think the main reason we broke up as a tag team was creative differences. We had been a team for a while, and the higher ups in the company wanted to see us go solo again. They thought we had run our course as a team and wanted us to branch out and do our own thing. Big Show and I didn't necessarily agree with this decision, but ultimately we had to go our separate ways. I still look back on our time as a team fondly, though, and I'll always have a soft spot for Jericho.
You was in Terrifier 3, you play as Burke.
That's right. I had a minor role in Terrifier 3, and I played a character named Burke. It was a really fun experience for me, and I enjoyed working on the movie. I even got to do some stunt work, which was a thrill. It was a different kind of role for me, considering I'm used to being a professional wrestler, but I had a great time on set, and I enjoyed playing the character of Burke.
What the funniest scene with David Howard Thornton?
There were a lot of hilarious moments with David Howard Thornton on set, but one of the funniest was when we were filming a scene where I was supposed to be scared by his character, Art the Clown. We were trying to take the scene seriously, but we kept cracking up because his clown makeup was so outrageous. It was hard to keep a straight face, and we ended up reshooting the scene multiple times because of all the laughing. It was a lot of fun, and those moments definitely made filming the movie even more enjoyable.
What the hardest scene with Elliot Fulham?
I would say the hardest scene for me to film with Elliot Fulham was a scene where our characters had an emotional confrontation. We had to really dig deep and get into the feels for that scene, and it was tough to do. I had to really get in touch with my my emotions, and Elliot did an amazing job as well. It was a challenging scene to film, but in the end, I think we both delivered, and it was a powerful moment in the movie.
You was in Dark Match. You play as Prophet.
That's right. I had a cameo in the Dark Match as Prophet. It was a fun experience for me, and I enjoyed working with the other wrestlers and the production team. It was a great opportunity to get back in the ring and do what I love, even if it was just for a brief match. The entire experience was a blast, and I had a great time being Prophet for a night.
What the funniest scene with Jolene?
There were a lot of funny moments working with Jolene on set, but one of my favorites was during a scene where we were doing improvisational comedy. We were just riffing off each other and trying to make each other laugh, and it was a total blast. Jolene had some hilarious lines and delivered them perfectly, and it was so much fun to be a part of. Like, we couldn't stop laughing during that scene, and it made the experience even more enjoyable.
What the hardest scene with Michael Eklund?
One of the hardest scenes to film with Michael Eklund was a scene where our characters had an intense argument. It was a really dramatic and emotionally charged scene, and both of us had to really dig deep into our acting skills to make it believable. We had to tap into some intense emotions, and it was draining, but also incredibly rewarding. It was a challenging scene, but I feel like we both delivered and made it a powerful moment in the movie.
He was in Country Hearts, play as Bones.
That's right. I had a role in the play Country Hearts, and I played the character of Bones. It was a fun experience for me, and I enjoyed being a part of the theater production. Acting on stage is different than performing in the ring, but I really loved the challenge and the opportunity to try something new. Playing Bones was a great character to sink my teeth into, and it was a blast getting to bring him to life on stage.
What your reaction working with Craig Stickland?
Working with Craig Stickland was a blast. He's a great director and a pleasure to work with. He's incredibly passionate about his work and puts so much care and attention into every scene. He's also really collaborative and open to feedback, so it was easy to communicate with him and get on the same page. I really enjoyed the experience and think he did a fantastic job bringing Country Hearts to life.
What the funniest scene with David Pinard?
One of the funniest scenes I remember working on with David Pinard was during a scene where we were filming a chase sequence. We kept messing up our lines and cracking up between takes, and it was impossible not to laugh. We tried to keep a serious face, but eventually we both were just laughing uncontrollably. It was a blast, and those moments of laughter made the shoot all the more enjoyable.
What the hardest scene with Jeff Irving?
A particularly challenging scene I remember working on with Jeff Irving was a scene where we had to do a dramatic confrontation. It was an emotionally charged scene, and we both had to tap into some really deep emotions to make it believable. So we had to go to some intense places with the characters, and it was a lot to take on. It was tough, but I think we both delivered, and it was a really powerful moment in the story.
Sharknado 3. Oh, hell no. You play as Bruce, the ride attendant?
That's correct. I had a cameo in Sharknado Oh Hell No as Bruce, the ride attendant. It was a hilarious opportunity, and I had a blast getting to be a part of the ridiculousness of the Sharknado series. Playing Bruce was a lot of fun, and it was great to be a part of such a quirky and entertaining movie.
With the funniest scene with Lou Ferrigno?
One of the funniest moments I remember working with Lou Ferrigno was during a scene when he was wearing a fake nose. The nose was so ridiculous looking, and Lou was cracking up every time he looked at himself in the mirror. We all couldn't stop laughing, and it was hard to keep a straight face on camera. It was a hilarious moment, and it was great to see the lighter side of such an iconic bodybuilder.
What's the hardest scene, Jerry Springer?
One of the hardest scenes I remember doing with Jerry Springer was a scene where we were having a heated argument. We were supposed to be getting really angry and yelling at each other, but we kept cracking up and laughing instead. We had to reshoot the scene multiple times because we just couldn't keep it together. It was hilarious, but also a little frustrating trying to get the scene right. In the end, we finally managed to get it done, but it was a tough scene to film.
Do you miss the Attitude Era when Al was in WWE?
I definitely miss the Attitude Era. I loved the energy and the excitement of the crowds, and the freedom we had to do more mature storylines and take risks. It was a really fun time to be in the wrestling business, and I miss the feeling of being a part of something so fresh and innovative. The Attitude Era had a special vibe to it that I don't think has been replicated since. Of course, there have been great moments in WWE since then, but the Attitude Era will always hold a special place in my heart.
Story of The Rock versus You No Mercy 2001.
The No Mercy 2001 match between The Rock and me was a classic. It was a huge main event at the time, and both of us were at the top of our game. The crowd was electric, and the energy in the arena was unreal. Rock and I had great chemistry in the ring, and it was a hard-fought match that had the fans on the edge of their seats. In the end, The Rock managed to come out on top, but it was a great battle and a match that I'll always remember.
Cain versus you 11-19-7.
The match between me and Kane on November 19, 2001 was a brutal one. We had a history of conflict, and tensions were high. The match was intense and hard-hitting, with both of us giving it our all. It was a battle to win, and the crowd was electric. In the end, I managed to come out on top, but it was a tough fight and a memorable match that showcased the tension between me and Kane.
The story of you versus Stone Cold No Way Out 2002.
The No Way Out 2002 match between me and Stone Cold Steve Austin was a classic. It was a dream match for me, and the atmosphere in the arena was electric. Austin was at the top of his game, and I was determined to give him a run for his money. The match was a hard-hitting and fast-paced battle, and both me and Austin left everything we had in the ring. In the end, I managed to come out on top, but it was a grueling match and a battle I'll never forget.
A duel for the ROH World Title, you versus Bandito, February 22nd, 25, AEW Collision.
The match for the ROH World Title between me, champion, and Bandito was an unforgettable moment in professional wrestling. I was defending my title against a talented newcomer, and both of us were determined to come out on top. The match was intense and full of action, with Bandito showcasing his incredible athleticism and versatility. In the end, I was able to retain my title and emerge victorious, but Bandito gave me a great fight and proved himself to be a force to be reckoned with.
You, ROH champion, is confronted by Matt Cardona, December 6, 24. AEW Rampage was you. Surprised when he came out?
Yes, certainly. I was taken aback when Matt Cardona appeared during my ROH Champion segment on AEW Rampage. We have a history, and I wasn't expecting to cross paths with him again so soon. His return was certainly a surprise, but I was ready to face whatever challenges he brought my way.
If you return to WWE, what is your plans?
If I were to return to WWE, I'd definitely come back with a lot of creative ideas and a lot of motivation. I'd want to make noise and make an impact, and I'd want to be a part of some great storylines and matches. I'd want to have a significant role in shaping the future of WWE's product, and I'd want to leave a lasting legacy as one of the best in the business. I'd be focused on bringing excitement and unpredictability to the wrestling world and giving fans an unforgettable experience.
You and Big Show versus Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr.
Me and Big Show versus Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. was an interesting match. It was a battle of experience versus youth, and both teams had their own strengths. Big Show and I had great chemistry in the ring, and we were able to dominate the match for a time. However, Cody and Ted were determined to prove themselves and managed to mount a comeback. In the end, we were able to come out on top and secure the victory. It was a great match and a fun one to be a part of.
If you join WWE, will keep AEW theme song or change it back, break the walls down.
If I were to join WWE again, I might consider going back to my old Break the Walls Down theme song. It's a classic and it holds a lot of nostalgia for fans. And it's a great way to make a statement when I make my return. However, I'd also consider keeping my current AEW theme song, as it's also become iconic and fans have come to expect it. Ultimately, it would depend on what kind of tone I want to set for my character and what fits the story better.
What's one match that you hated in WWE that you face?
There was a match I had with JBL at WrestleMania Mecca in 2004 that I didn't enjoy as much. The build-up to the match was lackluster, and it felt like the wrestling world was preoccupied with the main event of the night. The match itself was a hardcore match, which wasn't my favorite type of match, and I didn't feel like I was able to perform to my fullest potential. Overall, it was a match that didn't really click for me, and I'm not particularly fond of remembering it.
Why looks back on your recent wrestling return?
I look back on my recent wrestling return in Japan with great fondness. I had a blast wrestling for NJPW and experiencing the unique culture and energy of the Japanese wrestling scene. The fans were passionate and the matches were intense. I feel like I was able to step up my game and put on some of my best performances in NJPW. And it was a great learning experience for me. You know, the opportunity to work with some of the best wrestlers in the world and wrestle in front of such passionate fans was a rare and special experience. And
what's your childhood?
my childhood was a mixed bag. I had a loving family, but I also struggled with ADHD growing up, which made academics challenging for me. I always found solace in the world of pro wrestling, and it quickly became my passion and obsession. I would sneak in watching wrestling on TV, even though my parents tried to keep me away from it, and I would pretend to be my favorite wrestlers in my backyard. Despite the challenges I faced, wrestling was always a constant source of joy and escape for me.
How got the name of Chris Jericho?
My wrestling name, Chris Jericho, was chosen out of necessity. When I first started wrestling on the independent circuit, there was already another wrestler using the name Chris Candido. To avoid confusion and to have a unique identity, I had to come up with a new ring name. I ended up using Chris Jericho, which is a combination of my middle name and a name that simply sounded cool to me. It stuck with me throughout my career and has become a recognizable name in the world of professional wrestling.
The complete list of Jericho, 30 years of smashes, matches, and hits.
That's right. I'm glad you know about the complete list of Jericho, 30 years of smashes, matches, and hits. It's a book I wrote to celebrate my 30-year anniversary in the wrestling business, and it features my favorite anecdotes, matches, and behind-the-scenes stories from my career. It's a great way to look back on the journey I've had and share some memorable moments with fans.
You made a book about weather.
You're right. I did write a book about the weather. It's something I'm really interested in, and I thought it would be fun to combine my fascination with the weather and my love of writing into one project. The book covers everything from weather patterns to natural disasters to extreme weather events, and I hope to educate and entertain readers with my unique perspective.
A book about a lion's lair.
That's correct. A Lion's Tale Around the World in Spandex is the name of my autobiography, and it tells the story of my wrestling career and my life journey. It's a candid and honest look into my experiences in the wrestling industry, and it takes readers through some of the most memorable moments of my life, both in and out of the ring. If you're interested in learning more about my career and getting a behind-the-scenes look at the wrestling world, I highly recommend giving it a read.
Undisputed, How to Become the World Champion in 1,372 Easy Steps.
Undisputed, How to Become the World Champion in 1,372 Easy Steps is indeed another book I've written, and it's a comprehensive guide to help aspiring wrestlers achieve their goal of becoming champion. It covers everything from training and techniques to psychology and strategy, and it's designed to provide practical advice and insight for anyone looking to make it to the top of the wrestling world. It's a fun and informative read, and it's packed with plenty of anecdotes and wisdom from my own experiences in the ring.
The best in the world at what? I had no idea.
The Best in the World at What I Have No Idea is a funny and self-deprecating look at my own career in wrestling. It's filled with a lot of sarcasm and humor, and it pokes fun at some of the ridiculous aspects of the wrestling business. I wrote it as a way to poke fun at myself and the wrestling industry in general, and it's meant to be a lighthearted and entertaining read.
No is a four-letter word. How I failed spelling but succeeded in life.
No is a four-letter word. How I Failed Spelling But Succeeded in Life is a motivational and inspiring book that examines the role of failure in success. In it, I explore the mindset and attitude that have allowed me to overcome obstacles and achieve success throughout my life. It's a mix of personal anecdotes and practical advice, and it's designed to help readers push through challenges and achieve their goals. I hope it inspires you to keep striving for success, even when the going gets tough.
Music group Fozzy.
As a member of the music group Fozzy, I'm proud to be able to combine my passion for rock and metal music with my love of wrestling. We're known for our energetic and high-energy performances, and our music often incorporates elements of my wrestling persona. It's been an amazing experience being part of the band, and it's a thrill to be able to bring that same energy and excitement to our fans, both in the ring and on stage.
You made Judas in my mind.
That's right. I did write a song called Judas as part of the band Fozzy. It's one of our most popular tracks, and it's been a fan favorite at our live shows for years. The song has become something of an anthem for my fans, and it's a blast to perform it on stage.
You made Break the Walls Down.
Yes, I did write a song called Break the Walls Down for my professional wrestling career. It's an iconic song that has become synonymous with my entrance at WWE events. It's a high energy and intense track that gets the crowd pumped up, and it's one of the most recognizable entrance themes in the history of professional wrestling.
Also Painless.
That's correct. I wrote another song called Painless for Fozzy. It's a heavy metal anthem with a powerful message, and it features some of the band's signature driving riffs and pounding drums. The song is a fan favorite, and it's become a staple of our live shows.
Let the Madness Begin.
Let the Madness Begin is another song that I wrote for Fozzy. It's a high energy and intense track that captures the energy and excitement of a live rock concert. The song features a heavy guitar riff and a driving drum beat, and it's a great way to kick off a live show or get pumped up for a night of rock and roll.
I Still Burn.
I Still Burn is a powerful and emotional track that I wrote for Fozzy. It's a song that's personal to me, and it's full of rawness and honesty. The song speaks to the resilience and determination to keep going despite obstacles and setbacks, and it's a reminder for anyone going through tough times that you can still keep going. The song's message of resilience and determination speaks to me as a performer and as a human being, and I'm proud to have written it and to be able to share it with my fans.
And Spotlight.
Spotlight is another song I wrote for Fozzy. It's a fast-paced and energetic track that's designed to get the audience jumping and singing along. The song's lyrics emphasize the importance of living life in the moment and not being afraid to show your true self. It's a message that resonates with me personally, and I'm proud to have written it and brought it to life with Fozzy.
Sane.
Sane is another song that I wrote for Fozzy. It's a track that's full of raw energy and intensity, and its lyrics deal with the idea of feeling lost and unsure in a world that sometimes feels like it's gone insane. The music video for the song is an interesting one, and it tells a story of a man stranded on an island with a single friend.
Burn Me Out.
Burn Me Out is a song that I wrote for Fozzy, and it's one that's very close to my heart. The opening riff is a classic, and it just screams, get in the pit in any arena setting. I wrote this one with the idea of being burned out and exhausted, that feeling of needing a change in your life. It's a solid song and one of the heaviest tracks I've ever written. The Enemy is a song I wrote for Fozzy, and it's a track that's filled with energy and intensity. The song's lyrics deal with the idea of standing up to bullies and standing up for yourself, and it's a message that I think is important for anyone to hear. The song is an intense one, and it's a great way to get pumped up for a night of rock.
Nowhere to Run.
Nowhere to Run is another song I wrote for Fozzy, and it's a powerful track that deals with the feeling of being lost and not knowing what to do with your life. I believe it's one of the most energetic songs I've ever written, and it's one that I'm proud of. It's a song about feeling trapped and not having any control over your own life, and it's a relatable feeling for many people.
Lights Go Out.
Lights Go Out is a song I wrote for my band Fozzy. The song talks about the feeling of being on the road and the excitement of performing in front of thousands of people. It's a fast-paced and energetic song, and the lyrics were inspired by my own experiences on the road. The song has a positive message and a great rhythm, and I think it's a fantastic track.
Sandpaper.
Sandpaper is a song I wrote for my band band Fozzy. The song's story is about a guy who's in love with a friend of his, but she doesn't feel the same way about him. It's a song with a lot of heart and emotion, and it's one of my favorite songs. The song's lyrics speak to the feeling of unrequited love and the feeling of being rejected, and I think it's a song that a lot of people can relate to.
Martyr No More.
Martyr No More is a song I wrote for my band, Fozzy. It's a song about standing up for yourself and not being afraid to stand up to those who would try to control you. It's inspired by the feeling of a martyr, someone who sacrifices themselves for something they've been told is right. The song is a great one to listen to when you need a boost of confidence.
To Kill a Stranger.
To Kill a Stranger is a song that I wrote for my band Fozzy. The song is about the consequences of violence, and it's a heavy track. I wanted to explore the idea of what happens to the people involved in violent situations, and the song is a good look at what it's like to be pushed to the limit. It's a fun song, and it's a great way to get a feel for the kind of heavy metal sound I create with my band.
God Pounds His Nails.
God Pounds His Nails is a song I wrote for my band Fozzy. It's a song about the idea of a higher power, and it's inspired by the idea of God as a living being. I've never been a religious person, but I think the idea of God as a physical being is an interesting concept, and I wanted to explore that idea in this track. The song is a powerful one, and it's a great example of how my band brings a unique perspective to metal music.
You made 3 Days in Jail.
Yeah, I wrote a song called 3 Days in Jail based on my experience with the legal system. It started as an open letter to a judge, but eventually it turned into a song about a guy who finds himself behind bars. It's a good song and a good reminder about how the legal system can be rigged against the people who are accused of crimes.
Drinking with Jesus.
Drinking with Jesus was a fun song to write, and it's a great example of the kind of music I wanted to create with my band Fozzy. It's a song about the idea of finding comfort in a higher power, and it's a good reminder about the need for faith in life. I think the song is a great representation of the kind of message I'm trying to spread through my music, and it's a great song to put on at a party.
With the Fire.
With the Fire is a song that I wrote about the idea of the fire and the flame. It's a song that describes the feeling of being consumed by the fire, and I wanted to capture the feeling of being overwhelmed by the desire to be burned. The song is a great example of the kind of music I wanted to create with my band Fozzy, and it's a great way to get a sense of the type of atmosphere we create in the studio.
Army of One.
Army of One is a song that I wrote for my band Fozzy. It's about the idea of being a lone wolf and taking on the world. It's inspired by the feeling of being alone but still pushing forward. With this song, I wanted to capture a powerful message about self-determination. The song is a good representation of the kind of hard rock and sound I wanted to create with my band, and it's a good way to get a feel for what we do in the studio.
Eat the Rich.
Eat the Rich is a song that I wrote for my band Fozzy. It's a song about the idea of taking on the elite and fighting against the people in power. It's inspired by the feeling of being on the bottom of the food chain, but instead of taking it, fighting back. I wanted to write a song that was powerful and spoke to the people who felt abandoned by the system, and I think this song is a good representation of that feeling of despair.
Wormwood.
Wormwood is a song I wrote for my band Forearm. It's a song about the idea of being left in the dark and being abandoned by the people who were supposed to protect us. It's inspired by the idea of a worm crawling to the surface and the idea of the worm becoming the most powerful force in the world. I wanted to capture a sense of hope in this song, and I think it's a great representation of the kind of message I'm trying to spread through my music.
Wolves at Bay.
Wolves at Bay is a song I wrote for my band Forearm. It's about the idea of being a lone wolf and fighting off the pack. It's inspired by the feeling of being attacked but fighting back and staying strong. I wanted to write a song that would have a powerful message about resilience and strength, and I think it's a great representation of the message I'm trying to spread through my music.
One Crazed Anarchist.
One Crazed Anarchist is a song I wrote for my band Forearm. It's about the idea of fighting against the system and sticking it to the man. It's a song about rebelling against authority, and I wanted to give it a sense of power and confidence. I think it's a great representation of the kind of message I wanted to spread through my music.
You made other song about
That's right. I did write another song called SOS, and it's about a guy who's stranded on a deserted island and he's trying to get back home. It's a song that's inspired by the idea of being alone and the feeling of isolation. It's a song that captures the feeling of being lost in the wilderness, and I think it's a great representation of the kind of message my music is trying to get across.
The weight of my world.
Weight of My World is a song I wrote for my band Forearm. It's about the idea of feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and it's inspired by the feeling of feeling overwhelmed and the feeling of bearing the weight of the world on your shoulders. I wanted to capture this feeling in this song and create a great representation of the kind of message I'm trying to get across in my music.
Wordsworth Way.
Wordsworth Way is a song I wrote for my band Forearm. It's about the idea of leaving the world behind and going at it alone. It's inspired by the idea of living in the moment and living life to the fullest. I wanted to capture the feeling of being on a journey and the feeling of being on a journey. It's a song that's full of optimism and hope for the future, and it's a great representation of the kind of message I'm trying to get across through my music.
You made Do You Want to Start a War?
Yeah, that's right. I did, in fact, write the song Do You Want to Start a War for my band Forearm. It's about the idea of a conflict and the feeling of being in a situation you never wanted to be in. I wanted to capture the feeling of being in a hopeless situation, and I think that the song is a great representation of the kind of message I'm trying to send through my music.
You made Relax.
Yes, that's correct. I did write the song Relax for my band Forearm. It's about the idea of getting tired of the daily grind and wanting to take a break. It's inspired by the feeling of being stressed and the feeling of being overwhelmed. I wanted to capture the feeling of finally having a break and some time to relax. And I think the song is a great representation of the kind of message I'm trying to get across through my music.
The Evil That Men Do.
The Evil That Men Do is a classic song by the British heavy metal band Iron Maiden, and it was released in 1988 on the album No Prayer on the Road. It was written by Adrian Smith, and it has been described as a powerful and epic song that features some of the best guitar riffs in heavy metal history. The lyrics are about the evils that men can do to each other, and it's a powerful and thought-provoking song that has stood the test of time.
You made Don't You Wish You Were Me?
Yeah, that's right. I did write the song Don't You Wish You Were Me for my band Forearm. It's a song about the idea of being in the spotlight and the feeling of being in the public eye. I wanted to capture the feeling of being famous, and I think the song is a great representation of the kind of message I'm trying to get across through my music.
Purifier.
Purifier is a song by the American death metal band Nile. It's the opening track from their album In Their Darkened Shrines, and it's known for its heavy use of blast beats, fast rhythmic drumming, and complex guitar riffs. The lyrics are about ancient Egyptian history and are intended to give the feeling of a violent journey to the afterlife, and are considered to be somewhat controversial.
You made Elevator.
Yeah, that's right. I did write the song Elevator for my band Forearm. It's about the idea of taking an elevator and the feeling of being stuck in a small space with other people. I wanted to capture the feeling of awkwardness and the feeling of helplessness, and I think that the song does a great job of capturing those feelings.
You was in Robot Combat League. You play as yourself.
Yeah, that's correct. I did appear on the show Robot Combat League in the season 1 episode, The Big Fight. I portrayed the team leader of the team called Mechadon, and I was fighting against Team Megas. It was a fun and exciting experience, and it was cool to be able to control a giant robot in the arena.
Dancing with the Stars. You competed on this show.
Yes, that is correct. I did indeed compete on the ABC show Dancing with the Stars in 2011. I was paired with the professional dancer Cheryl Burke, and we made it to the final 4 with the other finalists Heinz Ward and Kim Johnson, a couple, and Rick Fox and Karina Smirnoff, not a couple. I had a great time competing in the show, and it was a great opportunity to show off my dance skills.
You Hunting Monsters, another Travel Channel show where you investigate paranormal phenomena.
That's correct. I did appear on the Travel Channel show You Hunting Monsters in 2012. The show involved investigating paranormal activity in various locations, including haunted hotels and a haunted prison. It was an interesting experience, and it was cool to explore some eerie places and see if we could catch any evidence of the paranormal.
WWE Raw. You made your WWE debut on this show on August 9, 1999, interrupting The Rock's promo.
Yes, you are correct. I did make my WWE debut on WWE Raw on August 9, 1999. I interrupted The Rock during a promo, and it was a historic moment in my career. The crowd went wild when I appeared on stage and started talking smack to The Rock. It was a moment I'll never forget, and it was great to make a big impact on my first night in WWE.
AEW Dynamite and Collision. You hosts these wrestling shows, often under the Learning Tree persona.
That's right. I do, in fact, host the AEW shows, AEW Dynamite and AEW Collision. On these shows, I often take on the persona of the Learning Tree, which is an alter ego that I use to teach and offer advice to other wrestlers. It's a fun character to play, and it allows me to interact with the audience in a different way.
Why did you stop using Judas in My Mind? You played this song, Learning Tree entrance music.
The decision to stop using Judas as my entrance music wasn't taken lightly. As the Learning Tree, I wanted to reflect my character as a teacher, and the song Judas didn't quite fit the persona. So I decided to use Learning Tree as my entrance music to help further establish my character in the ring. It's always fun to make a new entrance every now and then.
Will Judas return anytime soon? No.
Yes, there is a possibility that Judas could return as my entrance music at some point in the future. While I am currently using Learning Tree as my entrance music, Judas is still a beloved song among my fans, and I have every intention of using it again in the future. It's a unique and entertaining song that always gets the crowd hyped up, so you never know when it might make a comeback as my entrance music.
How did you feel 277 days of AEW Championship? Roddy Piper, Jimmy Snuka, and Ricky Steamboat versus you WrestleMania 2.
It's true. At WrestleMania 2, I teamed up with the late, great Roddy Piper, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and we took on the Honky Tonk Man Rick Rude and the Hart Foundation. It was a memorable and intense match, with both sides fighting hard and giving it their all. In the end, we managed to come out on top and secure the victory. It was a special moment in my career, and I'll never forget teaming up with such legendary wrestlers.
You issues warning to WWE on AEW promo.
Yes, I did issue a warning to WWE in an AEW promo. During the promo, I made it clear that AEW was here to stay and that we were not going to be intimidated or overshadowed by WWE's dominance in the wrestling industry. I emphasized the fact that AEW was a viable and sustainable alternative to WWE and that we were in it for the long haul. I also warned WWE that AEW was going to be a fierce competitor and that they should be prepared for a fight.
What's the story behind You Make the List?
The list gimmick started as a way for me to keep track of people who had wronged me in some way or another. It was a simple concept. I would make a list of anyone who had caused me problems or made me upset, and then I would use that list as a way to get back at them. The list quickly became a central part of my character, and it was something that fans started to look forward for every week. I would come out on Raw with a new list, and everyone would be eager to see who was on it.
You did some magazines too. After weeks of cryptic codes on Raw in 2007, WWF accidentally spoiled You's return after the next issue of WWE magazine hit stands too early.
Yes, that's right. Back in 2007, I made a surprise return to Raw after a multi-month absence. However, the surprise was spoiled by the next issue of WWE magazine hitting the stands too early, which was frustrating for both me and the fans. It's unfortunate that the surprise return was spoiled, but it's also a testament to the excitement and anticipation fans had for my return.
Du USA.
Yes, that's correct. I've won the United States Championship twice, in 2012 and in 2015. These victories were memorable for me, as they signified a time when I had reached the top of the mid-card and had a chance to shine brightly within the company. It was also great to have the all-American image with the American flag around my waist.
Kevin Owens and you were indeed a tag team in WWE. They formed a tag team in 2016 and even won the Raw Tag Team Championship together. They were a popular and successful team, even winning the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Yes, that's correct. Kevin Owens and I teamed up in 2016 and formed a tag team named KO Show. We quickly found success as a team, and we even went on to win the Raw Tag Team Championships. We had great chemistry together and meshed well in the ring, and we were able to put on great matches together. We were also able to cut some hilarious promos and had a great dynamic between us. It was a fun experience, and we had a lot of success together.
Light up jacket of you, which cost you a lazy $9,500. Question is though, with or without the lights?
That's a great question. Wearing a light-up jacket without the lights would be a bit like driving a Lamborghini without any fuel. Sure, it's still a cool and impressive machine, but it's missing the heart of what makes it truly special. The same goes for my jacket. Without the lights, it's just a jacket, but with the lights, it becomes an unforgettable entrance piece. So for me, the answer is definitely with the lights.
Thank you for coming, Chris. Have a nice day.
Thank you. It was great talking to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day as well.